And welcome in, everyone. Thank you for tuning into the Dynasty Force podcast. Back with you today, June 2nd, 2021, talking about some quarterback and tight end dynasty rankings here. As always, with the guy himself, the better of all betters, the man amongst boys himself, Billy Brisbane at Getting Bills. Bill, how's it going today? How's your week? How was your Memorial Day weekend? Anything fun?
Oh man, it's very rare in my world that you get a UFC week that's off. No UFC last week. I enjoyed my fucking self. Went on a couple dates. Had a nice little fun time. Step back away from the sports betting aspect of things. Try to clear the brain. Get ready for the dog days of summer. I know Detroit Beastie already knows what's up with the MLB. So the dog days of summer are starting to hit upon us. It's about to be MLB All-Star break slowly but surely. So I'm trying to get in and get my cash now. So if you want to tail a bet today, Blue Jays minus 164.
Ooh. Okay. But as Trey pulls up the phone, welcome in also Trey Tyndall at FF Superflex Guru. Happy birthday to you, my friend.
Happy birthday to myself. I'm feeling good today.
It's only right that we talk about quarterbacks on your birthday, as you are the quarterback guru himself.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see if Billy can make me some birthday money for tonight. Let's hope. But yeah, I'm excited for the QB tight end episode we got today. It was fun ranking my quarterbacks. Never sent them in today. The top 5 is all pretty close behind Patrick Mahomes, so it's pretty exciting.
Yeah, and for the most part, a lot of our top 3, top 5, kind of the same sort of order, maybe a little differences here and there. And then as our guest today, welcome in the usual guest himself, Chris Robin at Detroit Beastie on Twitter. Welcome back, buddy. How's it going? It's been too long.
I just had the need to do a what's it called? Ultimate Warrior kind of promo. I can feel it in my veins. Quarterback and tight end ranks. I hear on Trey's birthday as Billy Brisbane blows trees and then leaves. Here we are.
The usual here on the Dynasty Force podcast. Yeah, man. Chris, you said you didn't do much this weekend, but it was fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I have a nice deck in the back of my house. It's a detached condo. Mm-hmm. So I don't have to cut the grass. I don't have to plow the snow. And I have a very nice deck out back. So Beastie was out there, and I have like a few acres out back. There's a tree line there. So I put up I have a little swing, in the summertime. You can take a nap out there or go at night and lay there. Look at the stars, whatever you want to do. So I did all that, and I spent most of my day, Sunday and Monday, on the deck, writing, grilling, doing all kinds of stuff. Beastie was there, planted my garden, so I tended to that. So it was peaceful. I steered clear of my phone. I steered clear of social media, and it was a nice reset. So we're looking back like 4 days, not doing anything and resting. I got everything done I wanted to in terms of my rankings were published. Everything was good. Wanted to get those done and out of the way. That's the hard part, the main one. And now I can edit and do what I want to do along the way. But heavy DFS baseball last few days, hitting hard, a couple $100 each day. Last night was the most, almost 800 on DFS lines for baseball. So like Billy, I'm building up a bankroll, and then we're going to go hard in the summer. It's June 2nd here. Graduated high school 19 years ago today, if I'm not mistaken.
Damn.
So, dog days of summer or not, I go hard every day on baseball, and then even the Stanley Cup playoffs. So all well in Detroit Beastie land. So thank you for asking.
Sure. Chris, you said that you were on your deck for the most part. I know it was cold here.
It was cold as fuck, Rob. What the fuck is up with that? Chris,
Memorial Day weekend.
One day to 90 degrees in the middle of the day the next day for it to be 30 again at nighttime. I was like, dude, what the fuck is this? New Jersey? We live in California.
No, Sunday was perfect. So I believe Sunday was like at the middle of the day, 3-4 o'clock. The high was like 65 and sunny. And then Monday, Memorial Day, was even better. I think it was 75 or 80 in certain spots. So I had a blast just outside and being in peace outside. Nowhere to go, nowhere to be. I love that kind of thing. Like when I during the work week, like right now, it's 5 o'clock. I didn't go to the office today. And so like days where, I wake up in the morning, first thing I do is check my planner. I have no, guest spots on broadcast. I'm like, when I go home, I can throw the phone across the room and I can be in peace. Nowhere to go, nowhere to be. I love that.
Perfect. Trey, how about you and your weather this weekend?
Hey, it was pretty nice. Can't complain. I was wanting to go swimming, but it was a little bit too cold to go swimming. It was about 75, like what Chris had to do.
Yeah, and at that point, it's a little too cold just to go swimming.
But hey, Rob, this is a perfect segue in the fantasy in the listener league.
Yeah,
you just got an offer, and it's pretty shitty.
Yeah, I'm not taking it. I'll tell you that. I think you're referring to the CD Lamb offer.
Yeah,
that
he
actually just
everyone
posted.
knows that. I don't know why they're trying to get
Yeah.
CD Lamb. Right?
If I can remember it off the top of my head, it's like Adam Thielen, Jarvis Landry, and like a 2024 first for CD Lamb. So yeah,
it's the old quantity over quality trade offer. I'll give you these 17 guys, and all I want is one guy, CD Lamb.
Yeah. Hey, but the trade calculator said it's even, Chris.
That's what matters. Obviously.
I can honestly tell you, boys, I've never once used a trade calculator. Not that I'm against it. I mean, all those years, as you know, I'm older than all three of you. You put that in my face before we went live, Trey. So thank you for that. But going back 20 years ago when I first started playing fantasy football in the mid 90s, trade calculators are realistically, they're new. They're only like 3, maybe 4 years old max. So we never had those. I don't use them now. I'm a pen and paper guy. That's no secret. I use my gut, my heart, and a pen and a paper, and I'm good to go. Because when most trades come through or you're in a draft, you can see everything in front of you. If you're plugged in, if you're as plugged in as we are, then you know what's good, what's bad, what you're going to take and what you're not going to take. So the trade calculator, to me, no harm. I'm not putting down anybody who uses it, but a trade calculator is for those indecisive people, new fantasy players or indecisive folks that can't make a decision and they haven't learned to trust their gut yet, or they haven't learned to trust their own research. Yeah.
There was actually one time where I did use a trade calculator, and it's funny because it was a trade with Billy that we did last year. I sent like Hollywood Brown and a third to get back like Jamison Crowder in a second, and I'd used it for that just to see if I was like not being outrageous with what I was offering. But like I couldn't even find like it was mid-season too, and I feel like a lot of trade calculators don't update mid-season. Like they kind of go by the startup rankings and before the season even started, and then they update it after the season and all this. So it was difficult to work out with that. And after that, I just kind of, I've always had a good time trading on my own without using the calculator. So personally, I don't use it.
You end up with the Emmanuel Sanders type trade.
Yeah, we're moving on here.
Send me your first round pick again, please.
Yeah.
Last I checked, boys, the Undroppables. I'm not trying to plug anything, but his name's Dave, Professor. Is that Professor on Twitter? He started his own website. It's called Analyst Depot, where you can go and put your own rankings up there. I'm moving everything from Fantasy Pros over there because it's so easy to do. And just go check it out. Seriously, Billy or Trey, if you do rankings, I mean, everything's for free. You can go there. But anyways, he and the Undroppables they're taking on David's brainchild, the website, and he's working out a trade calculator there, which is kind of in what's the term, like a video, like a beta, like it's still being tested version, so Dave is big on that. He's mainly big on numbers and doing that stuff. So if you want to get a legit trade calculator for people by the people,
website again, Chris?
It's called Analyst Depot, NALYST Depot, DEPOT. You can log in, you can create a thing for free. I mean, it's fantastic. So I'm moving all my stuff over there, working on an optimizer for football season. So, oh yeah, absolutely, Billy. You know that's going to be good if it's coming from me in all those years doing that kind of stuff. So, it's going to be, I mean, again, not to get stuck on optimizers here, but again, Billy, you know it, and Trey, and even Rob. I mean, there's thousands of optimizers, right? And anybody under the sun can pay for that, but they're all spitting out the same data, same lineup, same data. So if you just go in there and don't tweak anything, click optimize, everybody will tie at the top for the number one overall line. So just some things I've noticed over the years using optimizer and writing everything down. There's some numbers and percentages that I hold, at the highest regard that I have yet to see in optimizer. So hold on, hang tight, and we should have an optimizer ready for this coming football season at the Undroppables.
That is cool. That is cool for you, Chris. I know you're big in with the Undroppables, so that works for you. What's that, Trey?
I've always wanted to see like some website make somewhere where you could upload your whole league on there, and then they'll rank 1 to 12 like how they think the team will be. I think that would be kind of cool if someone.
I think if I'm not mistaken, Fantasy Pros has been doing that for years. Like 10 years ago,
I know I
remember being able to upload my team there, and so any move I made throughout the season, I don't know if they would grade it, but I don't know about a league either. But if everybody in your league has the time to punch in, because you got to do it manually, you got to put in every guy manually, and I don't know if it'll grade it or what they do. But again, it's a great idea. But also, like on Yahoo or any of these other bigger websites, you get the email after your draft. Like you had your draft was an F, and you're projected to finish, with 2 wins. It's all an algorithm. They don't go into effect, the human condition there between trading and things along those lines. So those are fun for, entertainment purposes, but for like real, any like value you can sink your teeth into, it is what it is.
As far as Fantasy Pros,
from like a commissioner standpoint, since I commission so many leagues, I think it would be kind of cool.
Yeah, I'm with you.
As far as the Fantasy Pros aspect of it goes, I know for ESPN leagues you can like sync your league with the Fantasy Pros website very easily, and like you won't have to enter it in manually. I don't think they're connected with Sleeper like that, but if you do like a redraft league through ESPN with some friends or something, then it should. If you log into your ESPN account through Fantasy Pros, then it will like input everything, and I think it does have that league ranking sort of tool. So, but who does Dynasty leagues through ESPN? So, because of that,
nobody anymore, at least.
Yeah. So because of that, it's only really good for redraft, and I don't think. There was another point I wanted to make with that, but I don't remember anymore off the top of my head. So that's fine. But yes, Fantasy Pro. Oh, yes. I wanted to say you have to have an account with them, which I think actually does cost money. I know I had it for free. If you like, they give you offers right before the season starts. It's like if you put like $10 on this like betting site, like the year I did it was like draft.com. If you put $10 in to the bank account for that, then you get like a 6-month membership with Fantasy Pros for free. So
okay,
that was fine because $10 that I can still spend on sports betting, that's fine for a 6-month account. On the agenda for today, we mentioned the quarterback tight end dynasty rankings. It is my final episode as the full-time host here. I will be back for certain episodes, I promise. But yes, sadly, my wife is due in less than 2 weeks. So yeah, it's coming. It's coming fast, and I have to be ready. So that's.
What's that, Trey? Had a deal whenever you brought up that your wife got or fiance still, right? Or
she's
wife?
My wife now.
Okay, wife. I thought we had a deal that you guys were actually going to have the baby on my birthday. We still got time to induce her. I mean,
do you have proof of this? Because I don't recall.
It's okay. I'm sure Shane will be on my side.
Yeah, I'm sure. Her current due date is Flag Day, which is very American. So that's exciting. Yeah. So I'm gonna be not, I'm leaving, but I'm not leaving to do nothing. I'm leaving to work on family things. So
To be
it's
a
gonna
good
be fun.
father and to be a good husband. I mean, I think anybody in your
Husband
position,
especially.
yeah, you don't want to
Husband
be
especially.
a piece of shit, and go doing broadcasts while your wife is, baby screaming, needs to eat, needs a diaper
Exactly.
change. You're like, hold on, I'm doing a broadcast, and yeah,
We just
I'll be there. Yeah.
started. Like, yeah, exactly. So,
You'll be kicked out in 2 months.
and you're not lying. Maybe less. I'm not opposed to coming back full time eventually too, but it would have to be a little further down the road too, and that's something that we'll talk about further on too. But yeah, Billy and I know we mentioned it. But yeah, Billy and Trey, I know you guys can do it. Trey did it before with the Fantasy Forecast podcast that was, living and thriving when I first came on and Billy first came on. So definitely, I have faith. And besides that, I know I wanted to mention the Fantasy Forecast Listener League. Earlier, you heard Trey mention, oh, hey, you just got a trade offer and it sucks. And the reason that Trey knew that I got a trade offer, even though, obviously I knew already, but the reason that he knew is because we instituted something different in the Fantasy Forecast Listener League where all trade chat has to happen in the public league chat, which is a very interesting twist. Bill is in that league, Trey is in that league, I am in that league, so the three main hosts. And then we have Blair, who used to be on the Fantasy Forecasters, also in that league. And I think that's it for hosts. Jake Teets was a host for a little bit when I first joined. So he's also in that league. But besides that, it's all listeners. So that's exciting. But yeah, it's fun because you see the interest happen in the league chat, and then it just materializes, and
then
it
was actually proposed by a couple listeners, by the way. So
yes, exactly. Not us. It's not like we're sitting here, and it's coming back to bite Trey because he has the best team in that league by far, and everyone wants to cock block him.
Yeah.
But
shout out Blair.
It's funny because for an example, I gave this example to Chris before the show. Like I offered Trey Tony Pollard because Trey has Zeke. I was like, hey, I have Tony Pollard. Maybe you want him as sort of like a backup, in case Zeke ever goes down or something. And Blair, who's in the league, immediately comes up and he's like, hey, I don't really want Trey to have Tony Pollard. I'd be willing to give you more. And then I ended up selling Tony Pollard to Jay, one of our listeners, who's not even part of the initial conversation. He just kind of sent in an offer, and I was like, you know what, this is the best one, so I think I'll take it, and it does help my team a little bit. So, it's it's really funny because I feel like it drives the trade market up too, because you're publicly competing with everyone. So I feel like you're going to get back more on trades if someone sees that this player is about to sell and you're like, wait, I like that player, I want him, and I'd be willing to give up more. Then you can actively go in there and be like, hey, wait, before you accept that trade, I'm here too. So yeah, I feel like it can really make. It's also funny because it's very open, It's just
I might not have there was point in times where I trade dominated a few people, and maybe a few people got upset about it, and maybe they wanted to make sure that didn't happen. So maybe this got instituted. Public negotiations is just fine by me.
Yeah, definitely. We'll feel you on that. I think we lost Rob.
All right, Peter. I think the kid came on my birthday. Hey, I'd be happy with that. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh man,
He's frozen. So I
So,
almost made an awful joke, but I'll leave it be.
no. Make your joke. You got some time to kill.
Well, no, what Trey? You got to repeat what you said, Trey, because the moment was gone.
Maybe he had his baby on my birthday. I'd be fine with
No,
that.
you used a word there that I was going to spin towards. Maybe he's going to come on your birthday, and I was like, well, I can come on your birthday too. Let's go.
Hey.
Oh man.
Oh well, we lost Rob. We don't have any other rankings. So he was gonna put it on the site or put it on the screen.
Yeah, there he is.
I am back. Thank you. My
Nice.
mistake. Little lapse in the Wi-Fi right there. All right. I imagine we're on to quarterback rankings now.
I thought the baby came, and I was kind of excited. And then Chris got excited.
What'd you say?
Too.
Yeah, I can't.
Move on.
All right. That sounds
On to
fun.
the rankings.
On to the rankings. Let's start with quarterbacks here. I have them here. Trey, you tell me, can you see that well? I feel like I personally can't. The only problem I have is you're going to miss one of the rows or a few of these rows, but I will zoom in, and then we'll just go down the line. Does that look fine? That look good to you?
Yeah.
That looks good. Cool. Okay. So, yes, quarterback rankings. We have left to right, as far as my view, should be the same as your view. It's going to be me, then Billy, then Trey, then Chris's rankings. And then at the very end here, kind of going to be cut off for a little bit. We have our consensus rankings, which is going to be the average of all the players that we have ranked. And then it kind of also finishes out with not ranked and who they are not ranked by. So, you know, basically every player on our list is on our consensus board. So, I mean, normally I go down this list basically in a row, and then we kind of, once we get into the tens, we kind of just start jumping around. But because we have this, we have news that we already talked about. We have the tight end rankings to also get into. I want to kind of highlight things that we differ on a little bit first, because, you know, we don't have to spend too much time on Patrick Mahomes. He's everyone's number one quarterback. He's the consensus number one, and everyone knows that Pat Mahomes is good. So there's not much to talk about there. Kyler Murray, a little interesting that I believe all of us have Kyler Murray as our quarterback too, except for Chris, who has 4 for that, Chris?
Yeah, I have Kyler Murray 4. Yeah, just below Pat, Josh, and Dak there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's probably personal preference too, I'm assuming, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Just from because at the same time, you know, I did these rankings, and then at the same time, I've been working on projections as well. So that played a factor in there. And again, look, I'm not trying to be, you know, wild on purpose. I'm not trying to, you know, throw in a guy and make everybody like, I'm not a clickbait kind of guy. It's just what I felt at the time. And again, it's only, I did these, a week or two ago, just to get them done, the top 250 overall MIIDP ranks. And then it's right now it's June 2nd. So there'll be tweaks made, and we'll go from there. So as it stands right now at this moment in time, these are how I have my quarterbacks ranked.
Right. Josh Allen's going to be in there at quarterback 3. I believe we all have him at 3, except for Chris, who has him at 2. And then I want to talk a little bit about, well, we'll get there. Dak Prescott also down that list. You know, he's 3 for Chris, 4 for both Bill and Trey, and 5 for me. Trevor Lawrence, funny enough, has not played any football yet, any professional football, but he is a top 5 dynasty quarterback. According to our rankings, we have Lawrence as QB6 for me, QB5 for Bill, QB5 for Trey, and QB, where are we at? 9 for Chris. Chris probably, honestly, the most realistic of the 4 of us. But let's head to Bill. What are your thoughts here when you're, you know, ranking Trevor Lawrence as a top 5 dynasty quarterback when, you know, he hasn't played any football yet?
Last year I kind of missed the ball with Justin Herbert, kind of like the same exact thought process. I wasn't really too high on Herbert, and that ended up ultimately biting me in the butt. Fool me once, but you won't fool me twice. NFL quarterbacks are different nowadays, where rookie quarterbacks are thrown out here into the fire pretty early. I was pretty surprised to see you have Justin Fields at 17. I feel like if we're in a start off draft, I damn sure your rankings look more like redraft rankings than dynasty rankings. I could never rank Tom Brady at 11 and have him over Trey Lance or Justin Fields or somebody like that.
Tear him down.
We'll get there. I promise. It's not necessarily hate on rookies either, because I do have Trevor Lawrence at number 6. So I do believe in the talent and long-term ability of these players and things like that as well. But we'll get there. I promise. We'll get there soon. I like, though, the points that you made about Lawrence and how, coming into the NFL, things are getting easier for the rookies, and Lawrence will be the week 1 starter, which, helps as well. And then not confidence, but the talent of Trevor Lawrence has been like highly touted for a long time. So I agree that, he's my quarterback 6, so I'm not too far behind you guys there. And then Chris, as I said, probably a little more cautious there with his number 9 ranking, right?
Yeah, as it stands now, correct. Yeah, like if you look at the guys before him, the top, I have him at 9. So the top 8 guys are already in there. They're already doing things, right? And Joe Burrow, I could see a chance where I would flip-flop Lawrence and Burrow 8 and 9, but I'm not going to move up Lawrence ahead of Russ, Lamar, Herbert, Kyler, Dak, Josh, and Mahomes. This time next year, who knows? But as it stands right now, Lawrence, he's perfect where I have him, because again, it's kind of a cookie cutter rating if you ask me. Because if I'm feet to the fire, if I'm pressed against it, I can say what I just said. Oh, I have no problem moving him up a few spots. Or if someone says you have Lawrence 9, what are you, silly? That's too high. Oh, I can move him down. I could put Rodgers ahead of him, Jalen Hurts, or even Watson, given whatever the heck happens this summer with him. So 9 gives me a lot of leverage. I don't want to say leverage, but 9 gives me a lot of wiggle room in terms of a discussion like we're doing now. I can put him up a couple spots. I could put him down a couple spots. I'm not, upsetting anybody.
Right. Beyond Lawrence, we have Justin Herbert and Lamar Jackson tied for QB6 for our rankings, which I think is a fun little debate to have. As far as Herbert, Chris, you have him at 5, Lawrence or Jackson at 6. Trey has Herbert at 6, Jackson at 7. Bill has Herbert at 6, Jackson at 9. And then I have Jackson at 4 and Herbert at 9. And I feel like my ranking of Herbert is like kind of like a floor ranking. Like, he definitely can be much higher, probably should be higher in my rankings, but it's hard to put him behind people who I really believe, the talent has been consistently shown and will continue to be shown year after year. Whereas Herbert, he was really on last year, and if he hits that ceiling again, he's going to be a top 3 guy, I think. But if he doesn't hit that ceiling, then I think he'll consistently be around that 9 spot.
Let me ask you this real quick, if I may. Yeah. So if you look at where I have Herbert 5, I'd prefer Herbert over Lamar Jackson. That's been the big debate for like a month or two now, and it's only going to pick up pace over the summertime here. But if you look at Lamar Jackson, and this is what I wanted to ask you, I have Herbert over Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers. So Russ Wilson, Lamar Jackson, and Aaron Rodgers. What I want to ask you is it safe to say we've seen these quarterbacks' best season as a professional quarterback? Yes or no?
Aaron Rodgers, yes. Russell Wilson, I don't know. Maybe. It depends if he, is actually given the chance to let loose. Because I feel like
let Russ cook.
Yeah, I feel like it's always half a season where they let Russ cook.
And age isn't on his side. Let's be clear there.
Right. He has said, though, that he wants to play till 45. So we'll see how that works out. But as long as he's in Seattle under Pete Carroll, I don't see him surpassing what he's basically already done. Probably hanging around there, though. And then as far as Lamar Jackson, I'm going to have to say yes just because the one season he had was so high. Like, the peak was high for him that he probably can't hit that again. But go on.
The only reason I ask you that is because when I do my rankings, that's the first question I ask myself. So if it's between two guys, I look at age. I mean, age is a big deal, but it's not the end all be all for me in dynasty formats.
Especially quarterbacks too.
Yeah,
because
and
they can
I
play
ask
well into their
myself,
40s.
would I prefer Lamar Jackson or Herbert? And then the first question I ask is, have we seen this guy's best professional season? And with Lamar Jackson, absolutely. He MVP, and then he flamed out. He just kind of did whatever last season. It wasn't the best. And Herbert, he hasn't even taken off yet. What he did last year was phenomenal. Let me bring it up. What did he have? 31 touchdown passes, 5 on the ground, and that was his rookie season, and he didn't even play a full season. He wasn't the starter into camp, took the punctured lung from Tyrod to get in there. So it was a little bit of dumb luck, or however you want to put it. With Tyrod, that was unfortunate. But this offense in LA for the Chargers has yet to even be unlocked. So I could see a case where we don't see Herbert's best season until 2-3 seasons from now, and then bam, he's a top 3 quarterback, top 3 dynasty quarterback, and I want in on that now. I have no issue going out on a limb and saying, yes, I would prefer Herbert over Jackson. We know what Jackson is. I think, again, another question, I'll answer it myself. I think it's safe to say that we've seen Lamar Jackson's ceiling. We've seen his best year as a professional quarterback, and that's what he is. And what he is a damn good quarterback, but when you compare him to certain players like Herbert, it's not even close to me. I wouldn't have to flip a coin. I wouldn't get mad. I wouldn't get upset. I would say it's Herbert to me, and I'm not even thinking twice about it because of that. And again, Herbert in LA, it's kind of like Dak in Dallas or Patrick Mahomes in Kansas City. You want any and all pieces of that offense. In DFS formats, you're gonna punt the tight end, Donald Parham Jr., just because Herbert is that good. Herbert is absolutely going to unlock this offense, and it's going to be of biblical proportions. I'm saying it now. It's not crazy for me to say that. Herbert, sky's the limit, and we haven't even left the launch pad yet, boys.
I will tell you this, Chris. Your argument just now, because as I mentioned, I have Herbert at 9. I have Jackson at 4, Prescott, Trevor Lawrence, Joe Burrow, Russell Wilson. Your argument, I'll be honest, it doesn't sway me over Lamar Jackson, because I think there's a lot of arguments you can make in favor of Lamar Jackson. Last year really didn't go well for him or the Ravens offense. There was a lot of those situations where, you heard about defenses calling out Baltimore's plays before they even happened because they were so predictable on offense. They had very little when it came to the receiving core. They had Mark Andrews, they have Hollywood Brown, and then who's their next best? Willie Snead. Miles Boykin did very little. So, they've added a little bit there. They've added first round Rashad Bateman. They drafted Tillum Wallace in the 4th round, I believe. They got him at a value. So they have, added to the receiving core in Baltimore. And last year as well was an off season for Lamar Jackson as a passer. So I think if he steps it up, which I'm trusting he will, because he is, like you mentioned, he's a good quarterback. He's getting better pieces around him. It is a good system, good offensive line, very good, situation to be a part of. And he has that rushing baseline. I feel good about Lamar being my number 4 quarterback because, as you mentioned, we've probably seen his best season, but that season was so good. I believe it was the 2nd best fantasy season of all time by a quarterback, and he was the number 1 overall quarterback that year. I don't think it's too far out of the range of possibilities that he can hit something like that again. Probably not exactly like that. He didn't have a ton of passing yards, had a ton of rushing yards, a ton of rushing touchdowns, and 36 passing touchdowns. So he was just extremely efficient. And when you are running quarterback in a good system, I'm not going to put efficiency past you. So, I'm going to continue to trust in Lamar. But I do like a lot of the points that you made about Herbert, and it does make me want to move him up. in my rankings. I definitely feel like now him over Wilson because he offers that upside that I feel like Wilson won't because of the system that they're in. So I think the debate for me would come back to Joe Burrow versus Justin Herbert, who I like Joe Burrow, the talent a little better. And, when Burrow was playing last year, he wasn't making, I feel like, the media headlines that Justin Herbert was because Herbert was just so, I don't know. There was something about Herbert where everyone was talking about him. And, Joe Burrow was, yeah. Joe Burrow was consistent, and he was very good with the talent he had. And they added Jamar Chase. So I'm really on that Joe Burrow side. But I think now that you mention it, they're closer together than Russell Wilson or where I currently have him ranked. So you did make an impact regardless in your argument.
Let me say one more thing, if I may.
Sure.
Then, so it's pretty clear that the biggest draw with Lamar Jackson at quarterback is the rushing yards, and that's when someone mentions Lamar Jackson as a fantasy quarterback, that's the first thing I think of, and it's probably the first thing a lot of people think of. And so if I have projections for both of them done here going into the season. So if you look right down the line at each quarterback, I have Justin Herbert at about 4 or 5 more passing touchdowns as Lamar Jackson. On the ground, I have Herbert at the same touchdowns on the ground. They each have 5. So the difference here is what? Probably 4 or 5, maybe a stretch at 600 yards on the ground, which is what? 60 overall points. So if you look at the difference in the touchdown passes, let's say Herbert goes off for 5 or 6 more touchdowns, which is feasible. Is it realistic? Not really. So you're going to tell me I'd rather have this quarterback and it's sliced down to what? 300-400 yards on the ground. I don't like that. That's not a number I can sink my teeth in, right? Passing yards, very predictable. Touchdown passes and touchdowns on the ground, very unpredictable, right? That's the hardest that's the hardest thing we can do, in DFS or judging is touchdowns here. But rushing yards is just as wild, especially for a quarterback. So if we go into the season, I say, I have Lamar. Let me bring it up. If I have Lamar Jackson for, about 750, 800 yards on the ground. Well, that's saying that he's not going to take a nasty shot in week 1 or week 2 and completely, get away from that. So in turn, adding all these pieces, which is great for Lamar, but we're talking from a passing perspective. If you add all these wide receivers, Bateman and Tylan Wallace, J.K. Dobbins is going to get more work. That takes away from the rushing yardage, which is Lamar's biggest claim to fame in terms of fantasy football and the rankings from one guy to the next year. So to me, again, it's not close. I mean, I could argue both sides, but to me, I'd rather have Herbert there. And
you not here anymore.
Ooh, Lamar Jackson did not like that take.
Lamar Jackson is my FBI agent, I guess. But that's fine. We understand the point that Chris was making, so it's not like he got cut off before he could make his point. So that's fine, and he'll be back in a second, I'm sure. So let's move on for now. Heard plenty about that argument. And I kind of want to go back through the rest of the quarterbacks a little quicker so that we can have plenty of time for tight ends as well. So we were on the topic of Herbert and Jackson being tied. We had Joe Burrow at quarterback 8, Russell Wilson at quarterback 9, Deshaun Watson quarterback 10. Weird to talk about Deshaun Watson, and I don't really want to at the moment because it's all speculation. If he's playing, he's better than quarterback 10. If he's not playing, he's worse than quarterback 10. So it's just kind of like, where are you at in your thought process on Deshaun Watson? A lot of people
are you willing to risk for it,
Yeah, exactly. A lot of people believe that he's not going to play football again. I think there's a 0% chance that he never plays football again, but the range of outcomes of what actually happens to him is broad. So, take that chance at your own risk. Trey Lance at number 11, Aaron Rodgers at number 12, Justin Fields at 13. Bill, you mentioned Tom Brady, who I have at 11, and I clearly have him the highest. Bill has him at 23. Trey has him at 27, and then Chris has him at 24. and comparing him to Trey Lance and Justin Fields, maybe even Jalen Hurts and guys like that. I personally, on Tom Brady, want to hang the point that, yes, he's 43, but he still looked as good as he's ever looked last year. And he just won't retire. Like, I don't know what's up with this man, but he's got more Super Bowl victories than any quarterback in NFL history. And he's like, yeah, I'm not done yet. Like, and he's 43 years old. Like, okay, whatever. But my point is, I don't really know when Tom is going to retire. And Tom was really good last year towards the end of the season when he made the kind of adjustment that you want to see them make in the Bruce Arians offense of, okay, I understand the system more. I understand passing downfield. I can make these downfield throws. He's got fantastic weapons in Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Antonio Brown. Rob Gronkowski showed last year that he's better than his last year as a Patriot. So I feel like he's in a really good situation. 43 is a risk, and I will admit that, because any year he could drop off. He could very well drop off. But Tom Brady has not yet, number one. And number two, he plans to continue playing for a while, it seems, because he's on the Tampa Bay roster for the next 2 years. And then they I believe, have a clause in the contract where they can't franchise tag him after those 2 years, which sort of indicates that he still wants to play beyond that. So if you were telling me this is Tom Brady's last year, okay, I completely understand ranking him that low, but I don't believe it's going to be his last year, and I believe he's just going to continue to play. And I do like him a lot for this year, and I do like him a lot as long as he's still a Tampa Bay Buccaneer, because it's a really good situation and he has really good weapons around him, and he's a talented quarterback. So
see, I can't rank him that high because I just don't think he has trade value, and
he has no trade value. I tell you that, because last year I was in a rebuild and I was really trying my ass off to sell Tom Brady. I had to pair him with Cole Beasley, who at the time, I think Cole Beasley was actually like a top 20 wide receiver.
Yeah.
Because he was doing well last year before he ended up getting hurt. I paired them together and got back like 1 first that turned into the 110. So
yeah, that's my problem with Brady, is like the quarterback position in Dynasty football is the most important position besides the running back, obviously, but I would say the quarterback position is a little bit more important because
especially in Superflex.
Yeah, it's such a slim picking of margin that when I draft a quarterback or get a quarterback, it needs to have trade value behind it. And I just don't see. We always talk about Dynasty in 3-year windows. I think Brady will be productive in those 3 years. I just don't see, if you draft him, how do you get out of that Tom Brady type of draft pick? Like, I think more people are trading for Matt Ryan than they are trading for Tom Brady. So that's the reason why in my rankings, I have Matt Ryan at 16 and Brady at 23. Brady's kind of in like a dead spot land of like where I feel like the quarterbacks from 20 to about 23 in my ranking. So Baker, Carson, Kirk, and Brady, all of them are just like, you're not really sending out trades for those type of quarterbacks. Those are kind of like plant your flag type of picks, I feel like.
Which is funny too. I wanted to mention that because I know you're the Baker lover of this group, and you having him so low in your rankings was a little shocking to me.
It's not anything against Baker. I just don't think people are buying him as a quarterback. Right. So I got to do what I got to do. It's partly ADP and partly production.
Yep. And by the way, it's not an anti-Trey Lance, anti-Justin Fields take. I do feel like I have them a little low, but I do feel like at the same time, they are a little risky compared to the guys that I have ahead of them. Tom Brady, like you said.
Whoa.
You're telling me the San Francisco 49ers traded away 3 first-round draft picks. I don't give a fuck if he doesn't start week 1. That dude is going to be stellar for fantasy football. I would say Justin Fields as well, but Chicago always lends himself late into the year with shitty game scenario situations where you see a run-heavy offense. But man, Trey Lance, I think, should be the biggest ADP mover-wise in the quarterback rankings. I would not be surprised if you start seeing him being drafted in the same exact range as Justin Herbert in redraft leagues and in dynasty football leagues if we get announcing that he's going to start over the summer or something like that. I think Trey Lance is the one guy that is going to be a Konami code for this upcoming fantasy football season. And I think right now is a great buy low window before people realize how good this 49ers offense can be.
I'd say Trey Lance went 3.6 in a startup that I'm in right now, right behind Justin Fields and right behind Jalen Hurts. I would have picked him before those if I had the chance then.
I think according to my rankings, I would have as well. I have him at 14. I have Hurts at 16 and Fields at 17. So I would have as well. And I believe all of us have Lance over them. The only one is Chris, who has Hurts at 11, Lance at 13, and then he has Fields at 14. So, yeah, I can understand that, though, Billy. It's just my evaluations of him as a prospect. It's like he's going to be good if he's brought up the way that it looks like they're going to bring him up, but we can't, just shake off that risk. Okay, really quick, I'll round out some quarterbacks and we can get into tight ends. 11, I had Trey Lance, or consensus ranks 11. We had Trey Lance. Aaron Rodgers was 12. Fields 13. Matt Stafford 14. Jalen Hurts 15. Ryan Tannehill, 16. Tua Tagovailoa, 17. Baker Mayfield, 18. Carson Wentz, 20. Baker and Carson Wentz were tied at 18. Zach Wilson was at 20. Tom Brady, 21. Matt Ryan, 22. Kirk Cousins, 23. Daniel Jones, 24. Derek Carr, 25. Sam Darnold, 26. Mac Jones, 27. Jared Goff, 28. Jameis Winston, 29. And then we had some players who were ranked by some, but not by all. Billy didn't rank Ryan Fitzpatrick or Jimmy Garoppolo, but the rest of us did. Ben Roethlisberger, not ranked by Billy or Chris. Teddy Bridgewater, not ranked by Billy or Trey. And same thing for Taysom Hill. And then Jordan Love, only person who did not rank him was Chris. And then... yeah, definitely disrespect. Cam Newton, not ranked by me or Billy, and then Drew Lock, not ranked by me or Billy either. So, quarterbacks, if you want to tune into the episode on YouTube, Dynasty Force Podcast, I was going to just say pod, but it's podcast.
Can I say about one last quarterback that isn't in any of these rankings that I think need to be on everybody's radar? We alluded about this earlier. The biggest question of the offseason, besides the obvious trade talks of Julio Jones and Aaron Rodgers, is will Deshaun Watson play football next year or not? And man, if he does not play football next year, the people that always scoop in those 4th to 3rd round draft picks in their rookie drafts and got Davis Mills will be paid off, dog.
Hey,
that is my hot take of the podcast. Davis Mills will be fancy relevant next year, and you should have drafted him in your rookie leagues.
I had Davis Mills. Remember that mock draft? I drafted Davis Mills as QB4 or
something like that. I think it might have been.
It was
6,
QB right
actually.
After everybody else, and you guys were like,
yeah,
Davis Mills sucks, blah blah blah.
To be fair, that was before the NFL draft. So we didn't know he would be in Houston and potentially getting a big opportunity this year. Yeah,
I think he starts, bro. I think he starts pretty.
I think he starts too. I think if Watson's out, I think he starts because
why not?
Are they going to do Tyrod Taylor, Jeff Driscoll? Like, why would you do that when your team is as bad as it is? Like, why would you not see what you have in your 3rd round pick? Like, it wouldn't make sense. So
also, one thing to note, the reason why I like Davis Mills is because we always talk about draft capital on this show. And just to say this real quick before we get into the tight end rankings, that was the Houston Texans' first pick in the draft. For the people that don't remember, they had to trade away a bunch of picks to get Brandon Cooks from the Rams. So their first draft pick of the whole entire draft was Davis Mills. So
you gotta account that as like not first or second round draft capital, but like you gotta account that in for bigger than what people I feel like are really intelling, because that shows a lot of team confidence that they had them on the radar and they knew that they're going to draft them, so they obviously had plans for them.
Yep. I want to see now. I just want to revisit this Laramie Tunsil trade that the Houston Texans did make. I don't see one that's like complete because but it's funny because what it's actually turned into for the Dolphins, it was Tunsil, Kenny Stills, and the 2020 fourth round pick and the 2021 sixth round pick going to Houston in exchange for their 2020 first round pick, which I think was later. I'm pretty positive it turned into like Austin Jackson or something like that. 2021 first, which was obviously the number 3 overall pick that they traded to San Francisco to pick up more picks, trade back up to 6, and they took Jalen Waddle. They had the second round pick as well. Like all this capital for that Laramie Tunsil traded, it's just funny to revisit for Houston because that has not worked out at all. The NFL equivalent of the Emmanuel Sanders trade, let's call it. Take some pressure off of me. We all make mistakes, even NFL GMs. Here is our Dynasty tight end rankings. Again, you can see this on YouTube, Twitter. Twitter is at Dynasty Force Pod. YouTube, Dynasty Force Podcast. You can see our rankings on the screen, and then if not, I'll read them off for the most part. We did our top 20.
Rob, I'm going to slap you.
What's that?
I'm going to have to slap you for ranking Darren Waller below Kyle Pitts.
All right, let's go down the consensus ranks here. Okay. So number 1, Travis Kelce, no surprise. I feel like for every single rankings that we've done, we had a clear consensus number 1. Like tight end, we had Travis Kelce. Quarterback, we had Pat Mahomes. I'm pretty sure at wide receiver, we all had Tyreek Hill. And then at running back, we all had CMC. So that's funny. Number 2, George Kittle. We all have him at number 2, except for Chris, who has him at number 3. And then Darren Waller, number 3 in the consensus ranks. He is number 2 for Chris, number 3 for Billy and Trey, number 4 for me. This is what Chris or Trey was talking about because our number 4 in the consensus ranks, Kyle Pitts, who is average 4.25 for us. He is number 6 for Chris, number 4 for Billy and Trey, and number 3 for me ahead of Darren Waller. Okay, we can talk about that. What would you like to know? I am a basket of information.
I mean, come on, man. I'm the president of the Darren Waller fan club. I think, Kyle Pitts is obviously going to be great. Darren Waller's older, so maybe you took that into account. But maybe you also took the fact that Julio's leaving into account.
That's my big
all
point.
These benefits of the doubt, but at the same time, man, come on, that's just disrespectful.
Darren Waller is a focal point of the Las Vegas offense. He's basically the wide receiver 1, but they spent a first-round pick on Henry Ruggs last year. They spent a third-round pick on Bryan Edwards. Both of them had injuries during the season. Both of them kind of didn't do what they were expected in year 1, and it led to a big season again from Darren Waller. But for this season, I know the Raiders don't want that to happen again, and I know that you should project their starting young wide receivers to progress. So if they progress at all, if they get any better, it takes volume away from Darren Waller. So I don't think he's going to be bad. He's my dynasty tight end 4. He's not going to be bad. But I do think some volume will come away from Darren Waller. A little bit, not a lot. And volume is the king for Darren Waller. Kyle Pitts was drafted with the 4th overall pick, highest ever pick for a tight end in NFL history. I have the Falcons shirt on, so that's another point in favor of Kyle Pitts. This is a Matt Ryan shirt, by the way. So that's number 1. Number 2, he has a good quarterback in Matt Ryan. The Falcons did not take a quarterback at number 4, so Matt Ryan is there for the foreseeable future. He's 38, 37. I got this real quick. But he's not like super old. He'll play for at least 2 or 3 more years. He's 36, actually, and just turned 36. So I think he has 3, maybe 4 more seasons, which is good in dynasty terms. Tight end transitioning into the NFL can be a little difficult, but you look at the situation in Atlanta where Julio Jones is probably getting traded. Calvin Ridley is the clear-cut number 1 wide receiver. Hayden Hurst actually has experience as an NFL tight end, so he can kind of take over that, blocking, boring, non-fantasy related tight end sort of role, and they can use Kyle Pitts in different ways as an outside wide receiver, as a slot guy, as a tight end who lines up and runs routes, and they're going to. Like, you invest the 4th overall pick, you're not going to just use him as a plain old tight end, I believe, especially if you're trading Julio. The size, the speed, the athleticism of Kyle Pitts, I think he's going to be extremely heavily involved from very early on, especially if Julio's gone. We all know he's going to be gone because Matt Ryan has always been able to support multiple fantasy options. And if there's no Julio, it's Calvin Ridley and no one else besides Kyle Pitts. So, and they were in a position where they could have took Jamar Chase. They could have took, a different wide receiver. They could have took a pass catcher who could have gone opposite Calvin Ridley. Instead, they took Kyle Pitts. And Kyle Pitts himself, man, you talk about the college tape and what you see, and, the phrase unicorn has been said so often with him, but he is so difficult to guard because corners are so small compared to him, but linebackers are so slow compared to him oftentimes. So I think just a mix of things. I think he's going to be very heavily utilized early on, and I think the upside of Kyle Pitts is just phenomenal. It's that Travis Kelce level of a ceiling for Kyle Pitts. We all know it. So, personally, I'm not afraid. I don't think Darren Waller hits a Travis Kelce level ceiling if Henry Ruggs and Bryan Edwards progress, which I would expect them to, as they're going to continue to be involved in the offense and relied upon. So that's my personal opinion on that situation.
I like it.
Can you understand a little bit
I'll
more?
allow it.
Not hate me.
Kyle Pitts at tight end 4, so I guess it's not too crazy. But I decided to defend my boy Darren Waller. But I could easily see Kyle Pitts catching 10 touchdowns this year. So
definitely, yeah,
it'll be fun to watch.
TJ Hawkinson is technically Kyle Pitts is our consensus wide or tight end 6. No, that's Chris's. Okay, never mind. That messed me up a little bit. Okay, TJ Hawkinson is our tight end 5. He's a very popular breakout pick by a lot of people this year, so I can agree with that. Mark Andrews, tight end 6. Noah Fant and Dallas Goedert are actually tied for tight end 7. And then we have Mike Gesicki at tight end 9, Evan Ingram, tight end 10, Irv Smith at 11, Cole Kmet at 12, and Adam Troutman slipping in there at tight end 13. And then we were all kind of discombobulated at the end here. Logan Thomas not ranked by Billy or Chris. Jared Cook not ranked by anyone but me, which is a travesty, if you ask me. Rob Gronkowski, Billy and Chris not ranked him. Billy not ranking Hunter Henry. Billy not ranking Tyler Higbee. Trey and Chris not ranking Anthony Ferkser. Me or Chris did not rank Pat Fryermuth. Everyone but Billy did not rank Chris Herndon. And then I'm the only one that did not rank Jonnu Smith or Austin Hooper.
I just realized nobody ranked Zach Ertz either.
It's kind of hard when... Yeah, exactly. Like, he could get traded to Vegas right now. And I feel like Vegas would be a team that would be willing to make that trade because they like to have the multiple tight ends. Like, they went out and got Jason Witten for no reason. But, like, if he went to Vegas, do you even want Zach Ertz at that point?
No. I mean, he'd be
Exactly.
a solid tight end too on the bench.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, there's but then again, he could end up in Indianapolis, and then you're like, okay, we're in on Zach Ertz. You know, like he's the clear cut tight end one in this situation. He's got that connection with Carson Wentz. Like there's such a wide range of outcomes for him. What were you gonna say?
I'm still banging him to go to the Bengals.
That would be nice. Just not a lot relied upon him. It would give me a reason to cut Drew Sample in the Dynasty leagues that I still hold him in. So that would be exciting. Yeah. Billy, is there anything you want to mention here with the tight end rankings? Anything that stood out to you? What stood out to me for you was you not ranking Logan Thomas, but you still ranking Blake Jarwin there at 14, who I actually did not mention here as someone that we did not rank, but I don't believe anyone else ranked Blake Jarwin.
Yeah, three guys that I've highlighted for my rankings here. One big mover was Mike Gesicki. Dolphins drafted the tight end. I forget the tight end's name off the top of my head, but it's definitely going to take snaps away from Mike Gesicki. And with Mike Gesicki, it's all about him being on the field. And if he's not on the field for about like 80 to 90% of the snaps, then that's just going to hurt.
By the way.
Yeah, it's just going to hurt his fantasy numbers where I just don't want to draft him anymore. And, you know, I'm the biggest Mike Gesicki supporter. Watched him play in the state championship game versus my high school team and everything. So also one guy I want to highlight as well is back-to-back rankings here. I felt like nobody was on the Adam Troutman bandwagon here. Number 9.
I have him at 12.
Adam Troutman is going to be a big baller this year. I'm a big fan of him.
That is high.
And then third, I think it's 14 and 15 for me. Two guys that I'm buying a lot of shares of this year in this offseason is Blake Jarwin from the Dallas Cowboys. The easiest way to nail a fantasy tight end to have a breakout year is to usually draft them from fantasy productive offenses. And I haven't feel like anybody's talked about the Cowboys offense that can put up absurd numbers this year. And if they put up absurd numbers this year, Blake Jarwin's going to be the main beneficiary of it. So if he's in your fantasy leagues and he's the second or third tight end for some other teams, you should get him immediately. And then the guy that's right behind him is going to be Anthony Ferkser. Not really scared about the Julio Jones talk over there to Tennessee, but Anthony Ferkser is going to ball this year for Tennessee Titans. He had a really good year last year. No Jonnu Smith. That is the big reason why I have Anthony Ferkser moving up my ranks. If this was a redraft rankings, he'll probably be a tight end 1 for me. Anthony Ferkser is a guy that, man, after rookie drafts in my home league, somebody had the nerve to drop this man into the waiver wire, man. And I was just like, man, did they not know Anthony Ferkser is going to be a tight end 1 this year for redraft leagues? So those are the 3 guys I really wanted to talk about. Maybe you can come at me for the Chris Herndon ranking, but that's more of just
I will.
Last time I'm going to buy into it. His stats, I just can't get off of the stats. So, you know, those are the 5 guys that I'm really looking at. And then also forgot about my boy Harrison Bryant from the Cleveland Browns. If you're doing a startup draft, you can get him very deep and late. No homo.
Yeah, I feel that. I'm interested in your love of Anthony Ferkser, just because like he has been available on waiver wires and such. He's not someone I'm like. Sorry, my phone's ringing. Oh God.
It's due.
I'm just gonna ignore it.
Hey,
if I ignore it, it'll go away. I promise. So I'm sorry, the phone just threw everything off. Anthony Ferkser, we were talking about. He's going to have an opportunity in Tennessee because they lost so many targets in Adam Humphries, Jonnu Smith, and Corey Davis all leaving. So I can agree with that. I think my big point is, how do you know if he's really ready for that tight end 1 role, you know?
Just look at his stats when Johnny wasn't on the field last year, and he was basically a tight end 1.
Okay. I might move him up. Where do I have him?
Do a little deep
20.
dive on
have
Anthony
to.
Berkshire. You'll walk away from it like, damn, I didn't realize he had that good of a year last year.
Trey, anything you want to mention with our tight end rankings? Anything that stands out to you? I feel like your rankings, though, personally, no shade, are very vanilla.
Oh, so you want me to be clickbaity and trolly, eh?
No, I think the big point that I want to talk about for you personally is Jonnu Smith at 13, because I don't know. I don't know about New England.
Yeah,
is it him or Hunter Henry is the tight end one? I personally think fantasy-wise it would be Hunter Henry.
One of them are going to be a value, though.
One of them will be a value. So I guess it is a call your shot thing, right, Trey?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a call your shot thing. But what I've always done with all my rankings, I've always ranked it as, like, would I trade Travis Kelce for Kittle? No. But would I trade Kittle for Waller? Yes. And that's how I rank them. I rank them, would I trade that player over this player? And, that's probably why it's so vanilla, because, that's just how I am. Probably Mike Gesicki's too high. I like what I like what Billy was throwing down. I feel like Rob Tunyon's being disrespected if in your own rankings, right? I think the fact that on Sleeper, I don't know how long they're going to be able to allow to do this. In tight end premium leagues, if you could throw in him at a wide receiver spot and still get that tight end premium, that's such a opportunity for Tunyon. I don't know if he's still going to be a wide receiver next year. But who knows?
Chris has him at tight end 9. I have him at tight end 11, and then you have him at 15, and Bill has him at 16. So you guys are the disrespectful ones there. Yeah, and I don't think there's too much more to talk about, especially low end. It's tight end, so
I think you guys ranked Tim Tebow at.
That's
he barely missed my top 20.
Okay.
I don't think he makes a 53-man roster.
He barely missed my top 50. I'll tell you that. At the tight end position, that's very valuable. Tim Tebow in there. The one other thing we could talk about really quick that I really wanted to look at, the Mark Andrews situation of him. Consensus-wise, he is our tight end 6, so arguably that's not bad. But did you know Mark Andrews was the tight end 3 in points per game last year?
And he's always been pretty consistent.
Mark Andrews was the tight end 2 the year before. Last year he did deal with injuries. The Baltimore offense was a bit off as well. So, is there a reason that I feel like a lot of people are kind of against Mark Andrews this year? I have him at 5, personally. Bill, Trey, both of you have him at 6, and then Chris also has him at 5.
I was fighting to put him up between him and TJ Hawkinson. I think they're pretty similar, but I just think you got to go with Hawkinson athletic ability. I mean, I think Andrews is athletic, but I'm always just nervous of Lamar Jackson stealing those red zone touchdowns.
I feel. Yeah, those are tight end rankings. I did go down the whole list. I'm pretty positive. So, in case you missed it by chance, you have our Dynasty Force podcast available to view on Twitter and YouTube. Twitter at Dynasty Force Pod, YouTube Dynasty Force Podcast. You can catch me on Twitter at Fantasy Force FB. I don't tweet a lot anymore, but I'm still active enough where if you DM me, I will answer. I promise. So, gone but not forgotten. I promise I am. Trey at FF Superflex Guru. How is right there. How's your week looking? Are you excited to become a full-time, I imagine you'll be the lead, right? Because I feel like Billy's more of a color commentator.
Oh. Hey, we will discuss.
That's not disrespectful though. Some of the best in the biz are color commentators.
Hey, yeah. Billy is our
John Madden. Come on now.
Yeah, Billy's our Tony Romo, but no, I'm excited to sign off, get some birthday dinner, get some birthday presents. You guys know how that means. So hopefully some birthday cake.
I thought this was a PG show.
I'm winking. I don't know if you guys can see that. But yeah, who knows? But I'm excited for.
I feel. Well, enjoy your birthday, Trey. Bill at Getting Bills on Twitter. Anything you wanna mention? If Billy is our Tony Romo, what does that make Trey? Is my question. Does that make him Joe Buck?
Come on, man. That's disrespectful. I know I said I ain't an Eagle fan, but man, you can't call me Tony Romo.
Did you like my take of John Madden better?
Yeah, I'll take the John Madden one. But, you can follow me over on Twitter at Getting Bills. Make sure you head over to pubsportsradio.com. We're going to plug up the guys because, my articles are coming out this week for UFC. We already have the first one uploaded for the week. And I'm telling you right now,
Dude, we make minus 300 favorites into plus 850 props. So make sure you head over there to my Twitter. It should be my pinned tweet. It's going to be a fun week. Rob, all the blessings to you. Me and Trey will gladly hold down the ship. It might be a little bit later of a start pod time, though. I don't know how Trey feels about that one because I know Trey's got work and stuff like that. So later the better probably for Trey. And you're going to start seeing the cast of characters come back because we're going to force Shane to come back onto the pod and we're going to have to do it West Coast time so he has no excuses.
I feel that. Yeah, Shane is he's a funny man. I'll hope to see it in the future. All right, boys, and I will be back. I promise. But who said that? I'll miss you too, buddy.
I'll be back. That's the Terminator, dude. Come on.
Yeah. Thank you. I don't know. Maybe I'm just too young for that. Look how old you are.
Hey, I know. I'm old.
All right, everyone. Thanks again for tuning in, and we will see you next week here at the Dynasty Force podcast. Enjoy your week, and enjoy what is now basically summertime in the U.S.